Perfect.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very beginning of the Reaction Therapy podcast. We have reached a whole new level from doing video reactions to creating our very own podcast. And Nick, I am pumped. What about you?
Man, I am so pumped to be here. This is so exciting. I'm just glad to be back. So I'm ready to get going. We have a lot of things that are going to be exciting on this podcast, and I can't wait.
For those of you who don't know, we have been doing reaction therapy for a while, but I am Tom Stevens, your resident psychotherapist. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself later, but I am the one who does video reactions. Nick does all the stuff behind the scenes, the brains behind the operation. He runs the whole deal, and together we have created something we think is amazing, and it's because of you. So we wanted to put together a podcast so that we could do a whole lot more in this world than just video reactions.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm excited for with this is we get to, well, I'm behind the scenes the whole thing, so I get to be on this podcast, which is really cool. You can hear more about me. But also, Tom gets to just record videos, and he can't interact with y'all unless it's in a live stream. This way, he can actually interact and talk things through about what he's learned and what he's seen in videos. And it's just a cooler experience and much more connected, I feel like, than just recording.
It really is. It gives a whole nother level to what we do at Reaction Therapy. And I love learning about music, and I love diving into the lyrics of music. Y'all know that. And I love learning about new artists that I've never heard before. And this is our chance now to just have conversation, talk about the world of music, talk about reaction therapy, talk about the mental health field and mental health awareness. Y'all know that's our mission, to spread mental health awareness to the world through music and lyrics. And now it may even be through a podcast. So we wanted to do a trial run of this podcast, put it out there to y'all, see what you think. You could listen to this in your car. You could watch it if you're sitting down somewhere on video. Yeah. We've got it both ways. I love it.
So I got a question for you now.
Yeah.
So what's the purpose of this whole thing? What are we doing?
That's a great question. The purpose of doing a podcast, I mean, we've thought for months about this. You know, we plan ahead of time with all the videos we react to and all of just the purpose and intention of what we're doing. It went from just being something, fun and enjoyable over the Christmas break to something that actually has meaning in the world. So the purpose of doing this podcast is to be able, number one, to talk more about the mental health field, to talk about anxiety, stress, depression, trauma, addiction, all those great things I talk about in the videos. We can do more in depth here, you and me. Mm-hmm. And it's also to be able to bring in artists that we've reacted to. Yeah. Yes, we have big dreams here. Artists we've reacted to actually talk with them and have a conversation with them about their purpose for music, their thinking behind their music, what their story in life is, and how cool to actually bring the artists that we're reacting to in here with us to talk about mental health and the awareness that can help so many people. So I am pumped about that.
Yeah, part. I'm super excited. We've had artists reach out to us and say they like our stuff when we've reacted to their videos and to their music. And just to have an opportunity to interact with them, to see what's going on in their heads, I think it can just springboard so much mental health awareness to the world, especially from an artist, because we're just regular people. But when you get these artists who have millions of followers, for them to be able to talk and for them to say what goes on in their life, I think will really help a lot of people out. And we've helped so many people, and I can't wait to help so many more.
And just the idea of bringing a Q&A segment to this podcast where not only could y'all potentially, if we're interviewing an artist and it's coming, you could submit questions that we can actually ask that artist, and a Q&A for us. You may have questions to me about anxiety, depression, trauma, EMDR, PTSD, all the words and acronyms that I use. You may have questions for Nick about, how does he plan this and prepare, and what is the production behind the scenes and what's coming next. So you might have a Q&A time during this podcast where we can actually talk to you in a way a little bit closer. It's one step towards a Zoom meeting, but at least we have the chance now to communicate with you, and I'm super pumped. This is going to be fun.
I'm ready for this. So what's kind of our outline? What are we going to be talking about different
each show.
topics, stuff like that.
We have our merch on. We didn't
Yeah,
mention
we have
that.
merch.
And, coffee mug, which is actually water. And our outline, how we're going to do the show is very simple. How we're going to do the show, especially together, and this is so fun having the two of us together now in studio doing this, is we're going to be able to just, number one, talk about kind of the story of reaction therapy. I see it laying out like this, Nick. We're going to talk about the story of reaction therapy from birth to now. Like once it started, way back, the idea behind it, just the journey we've been on.
Yeah, we've been in quite a journey.
So, amazing. Yeah. So the journey itself and how this whole thing developed, and I think would be a cool story behind the scenes. Sure. And I think also we're going to talk about the music we do. What's our purpose behind who we pick, how we pick the artists, and what we like, what we don't like. You'll get to hear what's inside our brains.
Yeah, because definitely some of the music that I'm the one who usually picks what songs we do. Obviously, Tom has some say in it too. But I go through the Google form that's in the description of our videos, and it's not all stuff that I like for sure. So it's interesting. I think it'll be interesting for y'all to hear what kind of music we actually like, even if it's not, or if it is stuff we pick, versus stuff we wouldn't pick or we wouldn't listen to otherwise.
So. Yeah, so I see it playing out like us talking about our life and how reaction therapy's been and just the world of reaction therapy, and then having a segment each podcast where we're able to interview somebody and have a conversation with an artist. I even thought, man, we could bring in different people from the reaction therapy community to talk to them about what brought them to reaction therapy, what they like about it, what we can do different. So we've got a way to have an interview segment every single show, and then to be able to give you kind of ideas for what's coming. It's your inside look at reaction therapy. A lot of people leave comments, right? They want to know what's coming next. When are you going to do more of this artist or that artist? We on this show can give you all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the cool part, we're going to offer this. It's going to be on Patreon. It's going to be on YouTube. It's going to be everywhere. The difference being on Patreon, they might get it a little bit sooner. Patreon subscribers also might get a bonus show that we're thinking about doing. So maybe a behind the scenes look that's a little bit more in depth than what you would get on YouTube, but it's going to be a full show on YouTube, and it's going to be out to the world. And eventually, maybe our own YouTube channel for the podcast by itself.
Yeah, that's something that we'll probably bring up pretty soon in the future of our podcast. But I'm just wondering, if you want to see it on our actual channel, or if you want to make a separate channel and try to grow that from the ground up. So we'll see what y'all think about that.
We're going to see how it goes and see how you receive it. It's one more added feature, as if we're not working hard enough, right? Nick just graduated college. We're going to get here all of Nick's story, all of my story. Just graduated college. He's now in the interview process with different corporations, and he's busy doing his life as well as running reaction therapy. I am busy in my life and my practice as well as doing reaction therapy. We got a lot going on, but this podcast we have both been super pumped about because it's a chance to talk with each of you. Really, I know it's not a personal conversation here, but we feel like it is more of one.
Yeah, and it really just gives us an opportunity to really give back and give our feedback of what we think. It's kind of more not a therapy session, but you get to talk more. Tom will talk more about just his journey through life as a therapist too. I think that's pretty cool to hear what you think about different subjects. It's kind of what patron members get, honestly, when they get Zoom calls and different live streams. It's kind of like that, but just in a podcast. So
yeah, that was really well said, because this is a chance for you to get a look at us and our lives the way you never have before. Usually it's just in the comments. So to give you a little bit of a sample of that, some of you might not even know who I am. Some people are like, are you actually a therapist? Is Nick actually a person? Because I mentioned Nick. I have been a psychotherapist for 25 years in the state of Texas. I am licensed. Yep, I have all the credentials that are needed to do that, and have been doing this since 1995. So it's been a long time. You've grown up with me doing that. And I specialized early on in my career with working with children. A lot of foster care, adoption, abuse, trauma, neglect, of children and family issues that were going on, children taken into CPS custody, some really rough stuff. I've dealt a lot with trauma and addiction, and I've also kind of morphed as the years went on. I did a lot of parenting. I thought, the best way to help children is to help their parents. And so I really worked hard at speaking in public and doing conferences and also meeting with parents one-on-one to be able to give them the tools I have that I work with children every day on, and how they communicate, set discipline, deal with anxiety and stress in their children. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. My wife and I, Jill, who's also a therapist, we have done this our entire career. And doing this work helps me change lives just in my little way. And then I thought, maybe once we started reaction therapy, there's a way to spread information even more. And that's through this podcast, to talk more about mental health, to more about communication skills, coping skills, addiction, trauma, stress, depression, and ways to be able to make your life better. So I started out 25 years ago. I've morphed through. I work now with a lot of couples for marriage counseling in my office. I work with some teenagers, and because they can be challenging, I work with higher level athletes to be able to get peak performance in the field of play that they're in. And now I do this. I do reactions, and reactions are basically based off of my knowledge in the mental health field and how it applies to lyrics. And people relate to lyrics, right, Nick? And when they relate to lyrics, they are feeling something. And if they can do something with that to make themselves feel better, whether it's depression, anxiety, stress, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't think there's mental health in lyrics, then just look at our comment sections, because I cannot tell you how many times I've looked through comments to see people say that their lives have been changed and they've been really affected by our reactions to the videos. And there's so much in lyrics. There's so much to break down. You can have just a fun time reacting to them. Like, there's different songs that are just for fun and they don't really have very much mental health. And there's other songs that have a ton of stuff packed in it. And for us to be able to talk about some of that, I think is going to be really cool.
I cannot wait to get on this journey. I want to start out with the first show right now. It's not coming out just yet. We plan on releasing this weekly for you to be able to have, and we're underway with recording and getting things set now. But to start with the journey and to know that something like this right here has entered our lives, and the silver button through YouTube because of you following, subscribing, and supporting what we do, to be able to have fan art right here from Jess that has made this picture. It's just amazing the things that we've been able to experience. My assistant Jackie, who got me the 21 Pilots red beanie that I have that are so impossible to find, has been amazing. And Charlotte, who gave me the NFT shirt as a treat. We have been able to experience the song that people made at the 100K live stream of all people on our Discord.
Insane.
So we want to be able to give back. And this is a way to give back to you about not only the music we do and the artists we listen to, possibly by having conversation with them and talking about the mental health field, but also being able to go behind the scenes with us.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things that I thought of when you were saying all that, just the people we've met through Patreon, that's a big way. I'm not plugging it or anything, but the people, because on Patreon we get access with one-on-one and also as a group, and to meet those people and to see that the people in the comments actually are real people and they actually have lives. It's really cool to see that. And I think if we can get these artists to join us just to see, because they're real people too. And I think that's a big thing that most people don't realize when they see Tom reacting to stuff. It's like, he's a real person, he has a real job, he has real kids, he has a real wife. Like, it's all real. And just the fact that there's so many people that we just see in comments, to be able to talk to them and really like get to know them is pretty cool.
Yeah, for people to know, like, I am a psychotherapist, I have a practice, it is full, there is a waiting list, it's not easy to get in to see me. In fact, I've had to reduce it a little bit because of all the work we've done, but I've loved doing this, so I've done that. That this is not something to do to try to promote. A lot of people have asked me that about promoting my practice, but first of all, everybody's all over the world. That's not really possible. And second of all, the clients are not an issue at this point.
Trust me, I can tell you, he doesn't want any more.
It's a lot of work.
He has enough.
But I'll tell you, we don't see all the people in my office that we can. That's why we have support
Yeah.
people in our office, other people to refer clients to,
Mhm.
because my wife and I feel very strongly that we should take a certain number of clients a week so we can have full energy towards them. And if I could see 50 clients in a week, I could see 50 clients in a week. I would not be good for you. I would not have the right energy for you. And so I have to
Yeah.
limit the clients that I see so I know as much about you as possible. And so I give the best help to you. And I want to see everybody in front of me as if I have full 100% energy to see them. And so I do want to see everybody that comes in my office, but I can't. And so we have to be able to balance things.
It's the quality of work. Like you want to be fresh for everybody, and so that just means really like when Tom's reacting. I mean, there's some times where he probably doesn't feel good, but he does his best for YouTube, and so rest is a big deal, and having the right quality of content is real too.
Balance keeps me stable.
Exactly.
Be able to have the rest. There are some nights where very late we're doing this, but we do it because we really do love doing this. Putting out videos and doing this podcast has been a dream of ours, honestly, for a few months now. It wasn't when we first started, but it has been for a few months of like, I wonder if we could take, and here's the difference, y'all, so you know, and then we'll wrap up. The quality we have with the mental health aspect here, you know, being a mental health professional and working with all the clients and the background, the history and the training and education, everything I've got, I really believe adds so much value to what we're talking about that I think it can help by being able to talk with artists and be able to hear what's going on inside their head and what their plan and purpose and story are, that we are giving something super unique that I think is untapped and I think could help a whole lot of people in this world. And that's honestly our bottom line, is to be able to spread that mental health awareness and help people.
Yeah, you just said it, spreading mental health awareness to the world through music and lyrics and also podcasts. We have to add that in now too.
So we are super excited. I am really pumped about being able to have this time every week to sit down and just talk about reaction therapy, you know, to download and decompress and be able to get away from the video reactions and into just talking about the two of us, what we have going on, what we got planned, why we did what we just did behind us, what we're going to do in front of us, and to talk about different pieces of music and how it relates to the mental health field, depression, anxiety, stress, trauma, addiction, all that stuff we're going to dive into every week.
Yeah, I'm excited to do this. Excuse me. But yeah, this is real, by the way. There's no cuts. So yeah, I'm really excited to do this. I think it's going to be a really great opportunity for both of us, honestly, to just spread that mental health awareness to everybody. And I'm not some, licensed therapist, but I'm definitely a son of one, and I've definitely heard a lot of stuff, so I think I can bring some insight as well.
Yeah, a lot of credit goes to Nick, because I'm telling you, we talked about it the other day, without him, this show would not be happening. And like he said, without me, this show would not be happening. It really is a team effort of the two of us, because we're very different creatures. People, when it comes to how he plans and how I create, and we have different added features, I think, that really make this whole reaction therapy thing go well. And when we talk about this, Nick is the engineer, the producer, the director. He's the one that creates the playlist of things I react to. He's the one that helps keep everything balanced so that we're not overloaded. He's the one that thinks ahead to the future about ways we can spread mental health into different areas, and he's the one that is able to go out and make reaction therapy look different, better, stronger, and help us thrive. And so kudos to you. Done a great job.
Kudos to you too, because I definitely wouldn't have this opportunity without you spreading your knowledge. So it's definitely a team effort, and we're both excited.
Yeah, I want to give also one more shout out. Well, I want to give a couple. Number one to Jill and Tony, my wife and my son, your brother, for supporting us, because it's taken a lot of time and energy for us to do this, and they've been super supportive. Jill has been on here a little bit at times. Love both of them. And then secondly to Emily, who has just come on board in the last couple weeks to reaction therapy to do all of our thumbnails now. And I've got to give her credit, because if you go look at our thumbnails now, you will notice as they're starting to come out, they are different. They are better. And she has just passionately dove into this and really wanted to be a part of reaction therapy and wanted to create thumbnails for us. And that's just the beginning, tip of the iceberg. We've got more to come. We always plan for the next. I'm a big goal setter, y'all know that, and a big dreamer. And so just because we get reactions and just because we get thumbnails and just because we get a podcast, we're always thinking right now of the next thing that's coming after this. And so with that, we have a lot of energy and passion. Thank you, Emily, for doing what you do.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you, Emily, how good those thumbnails look, and I know I'm the one who emails you all the stuff, and I know it can be overloading, but you're doing a really great job, so I really appreciate that.
We're super excited. I can't wait to get on this journey. It is coming super soon. Let us know what you think. Let us know your comments, your feedback, your questions you've got about the podcast. And let's go do it.
And we'll see you on the next
Reaction Therapy.